Welcome to the Release Show. I'm your host, Brittany Skynes. On today's show, we have Chauncey Jackson. Chauncey is an award-winning filmmaker based in Atlanta. His passion for filmmaking began while volunteering at his local church. As time progressed, Chauncey gained experience by studying the art of video production and creating content. He produced a web series called Have a Good Day, which has won numerous nominations and awards due to his hard work and dedication. Besides being into movie production, Chauncey also shoots music videos, interviews, documentaries, and similar content. Let's welcome Chauncey.
Thanks.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's get right into it. Would you mind telling us what compelled you to begin a career in filmmaking?
Actually, I really didn't want to be a filmmaker, to be quite honest with you. It all started back when my mom, she was volunteering she was singing at our local church at World Changers, and she actually caught me sleeping in church one Sunday, and um, my punishment was she was going to have me serve. Now, I didn't know which department I was going to serve in, but I didn't want to do it regardless. So the idea she had a friend that was a part of a media department, and uh, she asked him, she said, hey, I think my son would be great for this situation. So he said, okay, we got him. So for my punishment was for every Sunday I would volunteer at the local church to learn media department, learn editing, learn sound, learn producing shows and things like that. So yeah, so I'm really it was a journey in itself. So it was really just by accident.
Well, that's great. Your mom put you on the right path.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
Most people perform volunteer work like singing and acting in their church and don't get hooked. But that
Mhm.
wasn't the case for you. What hooked you?
Honestly, while I was volunteering, what really hooked me was just the idea of learning how to grip the camera. Like we had the really expensive cameras at the church that I was a part of, World Changers, and I was so amazed by how I'm like, am I able to even do this? At the time, I was 14 years old. I'm like, I don't want to break their camera, so I was intrigued by just how they put everything together when it came to the live. Is all everything was live, by the way. There was no
Okay.
cuts, there was no breaks, everything was live. So I really had to be like really focused to make sure that I don't embarrass not just the crew, but also the videotapes can be seen across the whole world. So it was a huge responsibility, a lot of pressure, but that kind of relates to what I do now, where I'm so focused and alert when it comes to things on set.
Great. America's filmmaking industry dominates others found worldwide. What do you think is the best way to succeed in this field?
Just man, there's so many factors to that. I would say that word for me is just being honest and being really direct and know what I'm talking about, because I just started out editing first. So I said, hey, I'm an editor. This is what I do at that time. Now I'm a filmmaker. By the time I kind of grew into learn how to edit, learn how to write, learn how to direct, learn how to shoot videos. So I really grew over the years and let people know, hey, I'm more than just a editor, videographer, cinematographer. I'm a filmmaker where I could do everything and make sure that whatever they hire me, they're able to get the high quality that they request for. So honestly, being alert, building relationships, because when I meet somebody, for example, if meeting you, I would say, hey, Brittany, do you need a video? Okay, yes, we have a meeting, we sit down, and also I want to grow and get to know you more outside of set so I can see how I can help you in the future projects moving forward. So that's the way that I always operated.
Yes, networking is key.
Yes.
Building relationships. Still on the subject of industry success, can you share with us some of the challenges you encountered on your way to the top?
Wow. I would say the challenges is film is, especially here in Atlanta, film is very, very competitive.
Yes.
So trying to compete with other people who may have the highest quality equipment, the bigger crew. But for me, that didn't stop me. What I used was the skills that I had, and I knew what I was good at. And also the my company, One Chance Media Group, it's just me and my sister. So if two people can just last this long and we've been doing it for 10 years, then I know that moving forward we could last the next 20, 30, 40 years. So I never used my situation to the my circumstances.
Great. So behind you, I see something playing. Is that part of your work?
Yes, it is. It's actually the web series playing in the back. So right now we're just going through the film festival field right now, and actually today we got some good news. We're semifinalists for the Jellyfest in LA. So it's this web series is taking off. I had a solid crew, and we really dedicated almost 4 or 5 months to it, and it's been a blessing. It's really taking off, and I'm so proud of not just my crew, but the actors that are part of this. Some of them are my close friends, and I met some new actors in the process where they're able to believe in the project. And it's overwhelming how much a web series can take off. Where we not only won the New York International Film Festival, we won the LAFA award for Best Web Series, and on January 1st we won our first national award for best TV series at the Tokyo Japan Film Festival. So there's a lot of things going on with this web series.
Congrats. I am
Thank
so
you.
proud of you. Wow, that's
Thank you so
amazing. So
much.
tell me a little, you're welcome. Tell me a little bit about the web series.
Man, where do I start? Where do I start with this one? So
So
I'm
where
going
did you come
backwards.
up with the vision? Where did you come up with the vision? What does it speak about? Tell us about the first episode. Just give us some insight on it. And
Okay.
where can we find it and look at it and all of the above?
Oh, definitely. We actually, to be honest, I shot this web series 4 years ago. We shot this really on a shoestring budget. And it's really based off of my life when I used to work at a call center. And if anybody works in the call center, you know that call centers are just trash. Some of them. I don't know, I'm gonna say all, but the ones I've worked with, I don't care if it's the most professional, clean place. The mentality there sometimes is just trash. And I worked in 4 call centers where I worked in the call center where people like if you go to Wendy's, you see the number at the bottom, you call that, you reach us. And you hear some of the most mundane, excuse me, my dog,
No
stop it.
worries.
So you hear the most mundane, the most irrelevant. It's like you mad because you didn't get ketchup on your burger. You mad because your fries are cold. You mad because the manager was rude to you. And it's so many things that I heard over the years where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write about something like this because I think it's needed. Because I don't think there's a show like this pertaining to a call center. And I just wrote the pilot, and it took off the first time around. But I said, you know what? I talked to my manager, Natalie. She said, Chauncey, this show is great, but it could be better. We want to make sure the quality is top notch to compete with people not only on YouTube but also in the independent film circuit. So, I didn't want to do it because we spent almost a year and a half. And I'm like, yo, like, are you serious? But my manager, she knows me. She knows me for almost 10 years. So she said, Chauncey, I know what you're capable of, and we could do better with this. So I was like, okay. So I rewrote everything and I recasted some of the actors because some people moved and we thought that was understand. So I got a crew and we shot everything. We shot on a Blackmagic 4K. We had a drone operator. We had a music composer that a part of the crew, and we just before the pandemic, by the way, we spent 4 or 5 months just every other weekend, just shooting, getting everything done, locations. The costing was tough, but we found one. And honestly, I edited when we had the lockdown last year in March. All that month of March, I was editing the web series while everything was shut down. So I was ahead of the game. And then in June, I dropped everything weekly as like a TV series kind of event where people watched every single week on YouTube. And we have so many responses from people where they loved it. Like, oh, I worked at a call center before. I relate to this. And it was so amazing. The positive response we got, and people, you'll be surprised when people work at the call center. You'll be surprised if it's like, oh, I used to work at Sprint. I used to work at Verizon. I used to work at AT&T, or I was working at this call center. So for me, I was able to write about the call center experience, but still use a black cast to represent that.
Yes, I used to work at a call center too. I
See, 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 this is what I'm talking about. So so this show would be great for you.
Yes, that is hilarious. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Definitely, I'll send you a link for sure. It's on YouTube right
Okay.
now. So if you search One Chance Films or Have a Good Day web series, it'll come up in a playlist. And I'll tell you right now, it's binge watchable. It's short. I think each episode is over 10 minutes. I think, and the finale is 25 minutes because I wanted to do a longer finale so that people who were supported is pretty much a thank you to you guys. So I extended it
Mhm.
all the way up for 25 minutes just to for the fans to watch.
Nice. There's a common rumor that in order to become a figure in the entertainment industry, the individual has to perform certain actions that may not be considered moral. How accurate is this statement?
I'm sorry, repeat that. Repeat that again. I apologize. I didn't hear it
Yes.
because it was going in and out.
There's a common rumor that in order to become a figure in the internet entertainment industry, the individual has to perform certain actions that may not be considered as moral. How
Oh,
accurate
okay.
is this statement?
Um, the stories I've heard, it's kind of sad sometimes, but I walk with just not only integrity but excellence. And I
Yes.
say that because I'll give you an example. I work with a lot of females, and the stories that I hear them go through is kind of just it kind of makes me like ashamed sometimes because it's like why do you go through that? For example, they can't get their footage. Why? I don't know. I'm an editor. Just ask me and I'll give it to you. And
Um,
I've heard other stories where one person has to be like a sex appeal all the time because they're beautiful. It's like, but that's limits you. It kind of puts you in a situation is like you're typecasted where oh she's just a cute girl and that's it. But for me, for this
mm,
web series, I wrote about the women on the show. They really showed out, but all the women on the show are really different. If you watch the show, all the black women on the show have different personalities, different characteristics, different story arcs in the show, and it doesn't demean them to just a sexual object, if that makes any sense. So, and that goes back to me saying I walk in excellence and integrity because my mother raised me, and she always told me, like, Chauncey, when you go out in this world, I raised you to walk in love. I raised you to believe in Christ, and I want you to go out here to just because someone else does it doesn't mean that you can be successful in it. I raised you to be a man of God. I raised you to be a great man. I want you to resemble God, family, and your community. And I live up to that because even today, my mom, she's super supportive with the film. So actually last weekend, I'm doing a short film next weekend, and I told her, hey, mom, can I use your house for table read? She said, yeah, sure. So she had the table all set out. She had the water bottles prepared for the actors. And, it means a lot. So she sees the actors that come to the house. She sees who I work with. And she's so proud because the work I put out is not disrespectful to a man, woman, child, or race. So that's what I would say.
that is amazing. And thank your mom for the foundation she laid out for you and all the positive affirmations that she instilled inside of you. And that's why you where you are today. Because in the industry can make you change and it can make you make bad decisions, but having a firm foundation and support where people keep you on the right track will keep your mindset for the right reasons. So that is amazing. And I want to get back to the girls that you were talking about because
Hmm.
I'm a fashion designer and
Okay.
I've dealt with a lot of women, in the industry, and I've heard the same stories. You know, girls getting videos just because they're beautiful,
Hmm.
and they're being used just for their beauty. And there's so much more in these girls, and I always tell them that you don't allow anybody to use you. Don't take a
Hmm.
role because you want some money, because there's other
Yeah.
opportunities out there that will help you in the industry and help you grow, because these are just temporary situations.
Yeah.
When you're putting these videos as the video girl, as a head role, and it's only about your beauty, that's not really resembling who you are, because people need to know what's inside of you. And so I would always have pep talks with these girls and tell them, sometimes you just have to say no. I know you may need the money because you're trying to push up, or you need the exposure to get out there, but you don't
Hmm.
want that kind of exposure. You want the right exposure that's going to bring you more gigs.
I totally agree. I totally agree because when you said that, it reminded me of one of my current clients, and she told me that she got out of the industry because she experienced a lot of things where she just was looked at by different men as like, oh, she's just a sex symbol, and
Mm-hmm.
she got out. So when I met her a few years ago, she reached out to me again, said, hey, I need a demo reel. Okay, that's fine. So I produced it, I wrote and everything like that, and we shot it and it was great. But the one thing she called me probably like maybe probably after maybe like a couple of days later, and she called me and said, Chauncey, I just want to thank you. I was like, for what? I mean, for the. She said, well, I really appreciate the way that you handle yourself because I got in the industry because I was it was just the casting couch idea is real, and for you to be a male to treat me with respect, made me feel comfortable on set. You
Mm,
didn't have me in any type of attire that would make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel that I can trust you. And for her to say that,
mm,
it made me feel like I mean, if I could cry, I could, but it just made me feel like I did something good because that's someone's
mhm,
daughter. I'm married now, so I have a wife, and I have her on set. My sister, she's my partner since the beginning. I have her on set. They both
mm,
directed some of the scenes for the web series, so for me, it's not just it's about just treating people with respect. And when it comes to women, it's like you have to really protect, especially Black women. You have to understand that they're
mhm.
more than just an
Yes.
object. They're more than just that. There's someone's mom, there's someone's sister, there's someone's daughter, there's
Yes.
someone's cousin, there's someone's auntie. It doesn't matter. They're
Yeah.
older than me, it doesn't matter. You're still a woman in my eyes. And I look back to what I said earlier with my mom, that she always told me like you have just because someone treats a woman this way doesn't mean you have to do the same
You
thing.
have to do
You
it.
know,
That is so true. Moving away from industry success and just success in general, most Black people say that the country makes it difficult for them to excel in their careers due to prejudgment. What are your thoughts on this claim as a person of color?
this audio is going in and out. I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that again, Brittany? My apologies.
Sure, of course. Moving away from industry success and just success in general, most
Mhm.
Black people say that the country makes it difficult for them to excel in their careers due to prejudgment. What are your thoughts on this claim as a person of color?
Um, I could say that it's true to some degree, but I don't let that stop me from it never stopped me from excelling or reaching my goals, because there's a lot of racism in the industry, but I never let that stop me from doing what I love to do, which is film. Have I experienced it? Not really, no, but I would say this that there are people who are out there who want to stop you because some people are envious and jealous of you, but I never let that stop me because I'm graced to do this. I've been doing this since I was 14 years old. I don't care what
Mhm.
any racism, no hatred is not going to stop me from accomplishing the goal of what I need to be, which is to be the filmmaker that I wanted to be. That's the whole goal. So for me, excuse me, down, this dog. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
That's it. So my apologies. So yeah, that's what I would say to that.
Okay. What part of filmmaking is your specialty and why major in that area? In other words, do you prefer filming movies, documentaries, music videos, etc.? So which
Oh
part do you
man,
really like being a part of?
oh man, man, my first love is editing. So
Mhm.
uh, I grew to love writing. So man, that's such a I can't say one because
Mhm.
okay, I would say editing because that's really the end of the project. So you're
Yes.
responsible for how it looks, how it sounds, and how it's exported, especially YouTube or through Google Drive or anything like that. So for me, editing is like my first love, and I still have a love for it. But I grew to love writing because you're responsible for how the character is portrayed. You're responsible for how the character, like, why should I care about the character when a person watches the show is like, why should I care about this character? Why should I watch this character? Why should I hate this character? Why should I love this
Mhm.
character? Why should I care about this? I want this character to like go away. So I write for
Mhm.
the emotion, but also I
Mhm.
edit for that same emotion too. So it's a love thing. Like as an editor, you kind of have to be crazy creative because you're sitting
Yeah.
down for hours on end and just editing for man like, but you have to grow to love it. And some editors who are watching this or know, they know that you have to really be a little bit crazy creative.
Yes. How did your activity as a public figure and award winner influence your life? Do you require bodyguards or escorts anytime?
No, I don't. I have my wife, so I'm good. She's an EMT, so I'm good. No, I don't. I'm already a big guy, so I don't think I need any escort.
Seeing that your current position isn't the peak of your career, where do you desire to be in the future career wise?
Oh man, really, the my ultimate goal is to really do this full time, And I know that, I work, 9 to 5, which is fine, but my ultimate goal is to do this full time because when you're free from any distractions, you really can see how creative you are. Because I remember last summer I took 2 weeks off from work, and I wanted to do that because I want to know how it felt like to be free from going to work and coming home and editing videos. So I took those 2 weeks off, and I realized like, wow, I can actually do this. Like, because I have to be mentally prepared to do it, and I know I have the mentality to do it, because it's more than just editing videos. You have to, reach out to new clients. You have to drive to different locations. I partner with different studios where they know me, so I have to go to the business meetings. They say, "Oh, Chauncey, I need you here. I need you here." Follow up on phone calls. So it's like sometimes a 12-hour grind. You sleep
Mhm.
and you wake up and then it doesn't stop. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the time that I had at those 2 weeks to really have the embodiment of a filmmaker, and it felt great. I was like, no, I can do this. So really, that is the ultimate goal where I can be able to have my sister come along. I can hire people to join one Chance Media Group, and that's the ultimate goal. I don't seek fame. I don't seek the platform. That's not in. But what's in me
Mhm.
is making sure that my family's taken care of, and also I'm secure myself, and the same integrity that I had in the beginning still stays with me today.
So, what advice for young individuals who desire to succeed in a competitive industry that seems larger than them? So, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Man, I would say, what's your why? I have to ask myself that question because why do I want to be an editor? Or just a filmmaker in general. I have to start slow. It's a slow pace. People have an idea and they want to be successful. Like, what about that process in the middle? That process will build you. Because
Mhm.
when I didn't say this earlier, but when I was working at the church, my mom, she had a client, and it goes back to my mom. My mom's like my hero, man. So one day I was working with her, and she had a guy, well, a client, because my mom used to clean houses, and she had a guy that was there, nice house, and he knew me, stuff from church. He's like, "Hey, Chauncey, what are you gonna do after high school?" I was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know." He asked me a question I never forget. He's like, "Chauncey, would you like to work for CNN?" I was like, "Are you kidding?" I looked at him, was like, "Are you crazy?" Like, I'm 18 years old, fresh out of high school, don't know much. How are you gonna ask me I want to work for CNN, 18 years old with no college experience? He's like, "No, no, no, I
Mhm.
got you, I got you, I got you." I was like, "Okay." At the time, I didn't even see him again. I was working at FedEx. This is 2004, and I was working at FedEx, and I never forget this day. It was Wednesday, December 1st, actually my birthday. I came from Bible study, and I received a voice message or on answer machine. You remember those days, answer machine days. Those days not long ago. I dated myself a little bit. So I listened to the answer machine, and the person said, "Oh, this is so and so from TBS." I'm like, "TBS? What's TBS?" And I asked my mom. She came with a visit at our apartment. I said, "Hey, mom, what's TBS?" "Oh, that's Turner Broadcasting Systems." Like, 'cause I didn't know that CNN was a partner company of TBS at that time. I didn't know that. So I was like, "Oh, that must be Trent." I was like, "Oh, okay." Still, I wasn't a believer because I'm like, okay, I got the interview. I met with the vice president of the company. I sat down with him, and I had an ugly shirt, Brittany. I remember it was an ugly shirt, nice shirt, but I was like, this shirt is ugly. I was like, man, I'm gonna get this job, But I sat there in confidence, and he said, Chauncey, I looked at your resume, and I just liked how it was laid out, but he hired me on the spot. But the one thing he said to me, I never forget. He's like, Chauncey, you know why we're hiring you? I was like, no, sir, why? He's like, because you had the experience when you was at your church at an early age. That's what we look
Um,
for. So he said you had a like a 4 year head start before you got into college. You're
wow.
ahead of some seniors in college now. So for you to volunteer those years running tape, videos, gripping, camera operating. That's what we look for in seeing it. And I was like, wow, it's so surreal. So all
Wow.
that time I was angry and upset going there at 7:30 in the morning because at the time Creflo Dollar had two services. And I was like,
Mhm.
man, and it all paid off. But when I went to HR, guess who was there? My mom's client. He was the HR manager for
Wow.
CNN and they didn't even know it. Didn't even know
Wow,
it.
that's
He's like,
amazing.
I told you I'll take care of you, right? I was like, man, I'm so like embarrassed, but still shocked at the same time. But he's like, no, dude, like I saw your integrity. You served in church. You came, you walked in excellence. So why would I not bless you? You know, I know he's an HR manager for scene and didn't know it. And
Wow.
I know it's a long story, but I'm getting to a point here. So
Oh,
my
no worries.
entry into film was when I was in college. I studied film history. So I learned about
Okay.
film noir, the femme fatale. I learned about just black cinema to a certain degree, not a lot, but just a little. And I was like, okay, I
Mhm.
want to learn how to do this. So at the time, CNN had this program called CNN Passport, where you go to a different department and learn a skill from that department. So that department was media source, where they edited all the videos of CNN, headline news, CNN Sports, and CNN Espanol, CNN International, all those divisions. And the guy that I was sitting with, he was editing on a Final Cut 7. I said, hey, what is this? Oh, this is Final Cut 7. So, but it's only on Mac, and Macs are expensive. I'm like, oh, God, I ain't got no Mac. So what I did was I used my refund check from school. I invested into a laptop, and I got this trash editing software called Pinnacle. And what I did was, I'm dating myself again. I used LimeWire to download movies. You know, illegally. We all did it. Don't judge me. And what I did was, what I did was I edited movies and turned them into music videos so I can kind of have a feel of how a video should go, I guess, you know? And
Mhm.
I met my mentor, another mentor, his name is Van Gibbs. Great mentor, great filmmaker here in Atlanta, Georgia. I sent him some of the videos I was making at the time. He told me, he said, Chauncey, I see what you're doing and it's good, but you're re-editing edited work already, you know? But I would
Mhm.
advise you to invest into a camera and just start shooting. Just go out and shoot every single thing. Just get as much experience as possible and start editing your own work. So I did that. I got a Canon T3i for my refund that year for taxes, and Brittany, I tell you, I shot everything. That year we went to Chicago. I shot that. I shot a little road trip. I still have all the videos. Birthday parties, just road. I just got everything on camera, and I got
Mhm.
the experience. So really, I just was always intrigued by film, and I was able to just invest and just attack it, you know. And here I am now, a three-time award-winning filmmaker.
That's amazing. You never know who someone is and who
Mm-hmm.
will bless you when you need that blessing or that help with furthering your career. It is so amazing. I can even give you a story like that too. It's like
Mm-hmm.
at this job and I was so tired of the job. It had moved from Coral Gables to Doral, which is further out from where I lived. And I remember there was a girl there and she had received an email about this job in Aventura. And I used to live in Aventura, Florida. So
Okay.
I got the email and she said, listen, I want you to submit your resume to this person. So I submitted my resume. The guy called me like within 30 minutes, set up an interview, and I ended up getting that job on the spot. And I was able
Wow.
to walk to work, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you never know who's
Mm-hmm.
going to be helping you get to where you need to go, who's going to be the person that's going to bless you with your next step in your career. And it's just amazing because you just never know. And I've been with the company for 7 years. And yes,
Okay.
I'm like you. I do have a 9 to 5, but eventually I want the release show and all my other businesses to be my prime source of income. And
Mm-hmm.
if we stay focused and dedicated to what we love, one day we'll be able to write that letter and be like, bye, and
Yeah.
never look back. You know, I love hearing stories like that. I hear people all the time. I wrote my resignation letter, in 2004, and then 10 years later, they're just doing their thing, Sometimes you have to take that leap of faith, but it's not my time to take that leap of faith
Yeah.
yet. But
Right. Bills gotta
eventually,
be paid. Right.
like, yeah, we got to be patient. So, do you have a mentor?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a mentor?
Yes, I have actually two. One of them is Van I mentioned earlier, and another one is Natalie Starlet. Um, those are the two mentors that really just took heed to me as a young videographer and filmmaker, and they're still with me today. Like Van and he texts me randomly, say, "Hey, anything new?" So like, yeah, I'm working on this, I'm working on that, and or sometimes like, no, not much. I'm waiting to do something. So But I think he said something to me this year. No, it was last year. I texted him. I told him all the awards I'm waiting for that, and he's still doing films here and there. And I said, hey man, I want to be on set because as a mentor, I don't care. You gotta pay me. I want to learn from you because this is where I started. He said something to me that really hit me in a positive way. He said, man, I think you're good. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I think you're good. These short words, but I know what he meant, meaning that you don't need me to guide you anymore. Like
Oh,
the leash is off, I guess. He still contacts me here and there, but when he said it, I was like, wow. Because at first he was like, what is this? What is this video? This is not. Why did you shoot it? He really is. He will break things down to where it's like, are you okay? Like, are you mad at me? Like, but I needed that mentor to guide me because I don't know much. I'm young as a filmmaker.
right.
I'm young. I don't know much, but for him to say that, it really meant a lot to me because I was like, wow. It's like I was like, wow, And he's like, Chauncey, I'm just proud of you. Like I'm really proud of all of the work you've done. I dedicated 10 years, Brittany. 10 years is a long
Wow.
time, and and I'll get to Natalie in a minute, but like out of 10 years, 60% of that I didn't have a car. This is before Uber and
Mm,
Lyft. I literally had to walk down the street to the bus stop, wait for the bus, go to the gig. Sometimes I come home at like 1, 2 in the morning, just to make money for the day. And my mom will be thinking like, is he a drug dealer? Like, what's going on? Why you coming in late? Like, like, why are you coming in so late? What's going on? You okay? So,
mhm.
but no, and with Natalie, my mom, I met Natalie through my mom. My mom's a blessing to my life. Like my mom literally is a blessing
Yes.
to my life because she knows people, and even though she don't know much about film, she knows that I'm passionate about it because it makes me happy.
Mhm.
When I didn't have people around, like film, like my faith in God and family, like and film kept me happy. They kept me
Yes.
alert. They kept me dedicated to the craft. You're supposed to be
Grounded.
dedicated. You have to be grounded
Mhm.
too. So really, my mom, she met Natalie at church, and we became instant friends, like automatically. So Chauncey, I got you. So I met Natalie in 2011, and she got me my first paid gig as a filmmaker or the
Um,
videographer. So Chauncey have this project, okay, cool. So she always looked out for me. It's like I'm not like a little brother. So she really to this day, like she's my manager now. She manages me. We have meetings, so we still talk. The way that is like everything come full circle because it's like there's times where we didn't see each other for maybe like a year, but we always come back to where it's like, no, we need each other because we're a great team. And she's she's always been honest with me, just like Vanish. She's this web series. She's like, Chauncey, we gotta
mhm.
reshoot it. I was like, I don't know about that. I said, Chauncey, I know what you're talking about. She was right because if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be three-time filmmaker today,
Where
three-time
you
award
are.
winning filmmaker. Yeah.
That's right. So please let everyone know how they can connect with you and continue following your success.
You can follow me I'm mainly on Instagram. You can follow me on Chauncey, that's ChauncCee. I'm on Facebook as Chauncey Jackson. I'm on Twitter, but I don't use Twitter. But mainly I'm on Facebook or Instagram, so you can find me on both.
Well, congratulations on all your success. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing continued success with you as a filmmaker and anything else that you touch comes to fruition for you. And so thank you so much for being on my show. Is there any more information you'd like to give the guests before we go?
No, just continue to follow me on Instagram because I have a lot of projects going on. I realized that I'm probably going to be shooting a short film every month. I'm preparing for my short film next weekend. So all the actors are ready to go. So continue to follow me. I like working with new actors. So if you're actors, just send me a message and then send me your headshots and like that. And Brittany, the same thing for you. I wish you more success for the show. I wish you more blessings coming your way in 2021 and beyond. But I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity for having me on the show. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you guys for tuning into the Release Show. See you next time. Bye.